Hello everyone, it's me, Aaron, and welcome to a much more casual episode of Comic Class. Now, I say this episode is a lot more casual because normally I stand in front of you guys and give you all a big presentation about something from the world of comic books. However, this week's episode is going to be a lot more casual because it's going to be more of just a discussion, and that's for two reasons. One is because I'm currently working overtime to try and get all my Halloween videos ready for next week, so this is just going to be easier on me to do this video this way, so sorry for the blank background there, but also because the subject that I am covering today is one that's still in development. In fact, I was not going to talk about this at all until we had all the information on it. However, the subject we're talking about is the aftermath of Inhumans versus X-Men, which they are calling Resurrection. I told you it was more casual. I can't even pronounce words correctly. Which they are calling Resurrection with an X and everything in there. And as I said, I was going to wait until we knew more about this to talk about it. However, recently I made a video talking about the current state of mutants and the X-Men over in Marvel Comics, and that video exploded. Thank you guys so much for that support. I have gained so many followers from that video, and of course that means I have gotten so many people contacting me saying, are you going to talk about this? Are you going to talk about all these previews and all these teasers that have started coming out? And as I said, I didn't really want to talk about this just yet, simply because we don't have all the information yet. There is still a lot of guesswork to go into this. However, that hasn't really stopped me before in the past. And as I said, you guys have really wanted to hear what I have to say about this. So if that is the way that the wind is blowing, let it not be said that I don't also blow. So yes, I've had a link to that video that I mentioned in which I lay out all the problems with the X-Men in the Marvel Universe right now and all the rumors going around that they might possibly be going away and that Marvel is trying to replace them with the Inhumans. I lay all that out in that video that I have had up there on the screen for the past couple seconds now. If you want to hear it, then go ahead, click on that. I'm not going to go ahead and just repeat everything in that video because I would be here for 20 minutes. So yeah, if you haven't seen that video, just go ahead, click on it right there. But in case you don't watch it, let me just go ahead and sum up and basically say, it's not looking good for the X-Men right now. It really does look like Marvel, because of their movie right disputes with Fox, is trying to downplay the X-Men and get rid of the mutants altogether. However, this week, Marvel started teasing the new books that are going to start coming out after the Inhumans vs. X-Men event. And so far, as of this recording, and I know by the time that this video gets up and by the time that you guys watch this video, there will be even more of these teasers out there. But so far, as of now, the three books that they've teased are Iceman, Jean Grey, and Weapon X. In other words, three big mutant titles. In fact, two of those titles are spotlights on solo characters who have never had their own ongoing series, despite being some of the most popular mutants out there. Now, I got a lot of people sending me tweets and messages saying, oh, it looks like you were wrong. Looks like they're not getting rid of the X-Men. Looks like they're still going to be around. I want to make one thing very clear. Yes, I made a video in which I said it's not looking good for the X-Men. Marvel might be trying to get rid of them. However, I want to be totally, absolutely crystal clear on this. I'm not rooting for that. If it turns out that I was completely wrong, then I will be the first person out there throwing confetti and blowing the noisemakers and holding a ticker tape parade for the entire cast of the next X-Men movie. Because thank God the mutants are still around. However, here's the thing. We don't entirely know if that's the case. In today's episode, as I said, this isn't really a presentation on my part. It's more of an open and honest discussion about what we know right now and what all of this could mean. Now, as I have said, Marvel is currently trying to replace the mutants with the Inhumans. And the current big crisis going on with the mutants in Marvel Comics at the moment is that the Terrigen Mist, the giant clouds that are going around the planet, turning people into Inhumans, is poisonous to mutants. In fact, as of the time that I'm recording this, Death of X #2 has come out, and in that one, they actually do address something that I've been wanting to bring up forever, which is the fact that mutants have indeed been exposed to the Terrigen Mist before and didn't do anything to them. They actually did say something happens when you turned it into a giant cloud. Now it's a brand new chemical that is negatively reacting to the X gene. So I'll give Marvel this. They did actually address that, so kudos to you. But yeah, this is the big thing that everybody is worried about, is that all the mutants are dying in a thing that creates more Inhumans, and it's all going to lead up to a giant fight between the Inhumans and the mutants. So what's going to happen? Could Disney possibly actually be telling Marvel to kill off all of their mutants? Now, seeing that we actually do have brand new mutant books coming out after this big event, thank God it means that's not going to happen. These characters are still going to exist. However, the other thing that many people have theorized, in fact, I even theorized this in that video, is that the way that they're going to save mutants from the Terrigen Mist is that they're going to figure out some way to turn mutants into Inhumans, to somehow convert the X gene into the Inhuman gene. In fact, if you have been reading Extraordinary X-Men, the first storyline in that new series featured Mr. Sinister trying to do that exact thing, so it almost seems like they've been trying to lay the groundwork for this idea from the very beginning of this whole Inhumans mutant crisis. So when I saw that Iceman and Jean Grey were going to get their own solo series, I thought, thank God the mutants are still going to be around. However, let's look at this teaser image that we have gotten for the big Resurrection event. Now, we have seen the word Resurrection for the past couple of months. However, they have now added a new tagline to this banner, which says, an ending and a beginning. Now, I don't want to get into weird theory territory here. However, if I had to take a guess, I would say the ending refers to all mutants, and beginning refers to a new species, a brand new combination of mutants and Inhumans. Now, in that video that I made, I said that this would actually probably be the smartest idea on Marvel's part, because then they actually could continue to put out their books featuring all of these characters that people know and love. However, then they wouldn't be promoting mutants anymore, which means they would no longer be promoting Fox's properties. They would now be promoting Inhumans, which would be Marvel's property. So from a strictly money-making point of view, it actually probably would be the smartest move on their part. Not to mention, the reason why Fox owns all the mutants is because of the way that Marvel divides up all of its properties. They divide them into certain houses. So, certain characters belong to the X-Men house. Certain characters belong to the Avengers house. Certain characters belong to the Spider-Man house. So when a company comes in and goes, we want to buy the movie rights to these characters, they buy everything that fits under that house. That's why there are characters like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch who can be in both Avengers and X-Men, because they are actually part of both houses. However, if Marvel comes in and completely wipes out the X-Men house and then basically shifts all the X-Men to be under the Inhuman house, that means they can create any new adventure and story and character that they want to be part of the X-Men universe, and Fox would no longer own the rights to it. They would still own the rights to all the characters that were created previously under the X-Men house. However, every single new thing that Marvel creates from this point forward involving the X-Men would then belong to themselves. They could create a brand new leader of the X-Men called George X-Men with a giant X tattooed on his chest, and as long as they called him an Inhuman, he would not belong to Fox. He would belong to Disney. Plus, as I said in that video, the number one source of income for comic book companies and many movie studios is merchandising. It's not the actual product itself, it's all the merchandising you can make based on that product. And when it comes to the X-Men, Fox and Disney have to split the rights to all X-Men merchandising because Fox owns a portion of all the merchandising rights involving the characters that they own. However, if they then turn all the mutants into Inhumans, those characters would no longer fit under the X-Men merchandising rights, because now they would be under a completely different house. And for anybody out there who says that wouldn't work, they couldn't do that, they've actually already done it. Back in the 90s, there was a law that said that any action figure that came into the country that was created after a human character had to receive additional taxes on it. Marvel then argued that all of their mutant merchandising didn't have to pay those taxes because despite the fact that these characters looked exactly like humans, they were a different species. They were actually mutants. And you know what the crazy thing is? They won. That actually worked. So in other words, they could do the exact same thing again and just come in, and when Fox says, hey, we own that character so we get part of that, Marvel just has to say, yeah, you own the characters that are under the mutant classification. This is an Inhuman. We own the merchandising rights to all characters under that classification. And in case you still don't think that would work, Marvel pulled that crazy legal kung fu back before it was under Disney, and Disney has lawyers who were able to change copyright laws in the entire country just so they could hold on to Mickey Mouse. Trust me, they could make this work. So to me, when I see that Iceman and Jean Grey are getting their own books, that's entirely what it implies to me. It implies that Marvel is going to somehow combine the mutants and the Inhumans into some brand new species, a species that they now own, meaning they would get all the merchandising rights. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of upset at the very idea of them doing that, because coming in and changing mutants into something else would be like coming in and going, yeah, Spider-Man actually wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider. He was actually bitten by a radioactive flea. You know, they possess many of the same abilities. That's why he can't spin organic webs, but he can still jump really high, and he's got super strength. Yeah, you know, it was just a completely different bug the whole time. So from now on, you're just going to have to call him a giant flea man. But he's still the same character you love, and it's like, yeah, that's not the same. And honestly, it was kind of bugging me. But at the same time, I've been saying for a long time that Iceman needs his own series. I've been saying for a long time that Jean Grey needs her own series. So, yeah, I'm kind of upset at the very idea of you taking mutants and not making them mutants anymore. But if this means I can get series for all those characters that I've been wanting to see series for the longest time, it might be worth it. I hate saying that. It feels like a betrayal of these characters to even imply such a thing. However, the X-Men only have 5 books out right now. That's insane. I can't believe that number is that freaking low. And honestly, every single story revolving around them is, we're almost about to die. We have to gather together. Oh God, the end is coming for all of us. If you can give me Iceman just going out on the town and just trying to pick up guys at a bar and just going out there and having fun and fighting supervillains and being his old witty self and going on big brand new adventures, and you can give me Jean Grey and really amazing stories involving everything that she can do and all the stuff that she's experienced in her life and this whole complex of being a time-displaced member of the X-Men, and then you give me 15 other X-Men, their own solo books that they've never had before, but I've always wanted to see. Man, that's a pretty good deal. I gotta be honest with you. I might be willing to betray my mutant brethren to get that deal. And for all of you action figure collectors out there who keep wondering why there are so few X-Men figures out there, you would be getting figures of all these characters if that's what Marvel intends to do. You would suddenly get wave after wave of X-Men figure coming out because now that they own the rights to the merchandising on these characters, they would promote the crap out of those action figures. And for anybody who's going to come in here and say, well, yeah, but Weapon X is also getting its own series, and Weapon X is a location, you can't change the race of a location, so Fox would still own the rights to any merchandising involving Weapon X. Trust me, they're not going to sell a giant Weapon X base. However, they could sell action figures based on all the characters inside the Weapon X base, which Marvel then would own the rights to. Now, I know at this point, I am talking with total conviction, like I know that this is happening for a fact, but I need to come in here and just again remind you guys completely, I don't know what the fudge I'm talking about, because again, I am talking about this while it is a story still in development. Any day now, they could put out a brand new teaser that goes against everything I've been saying. And honestly, the teaser that I am waiting the most to see is the new X-Men teams. Yes, we are getting books based on solo characters, and that's great. I'm happy to see that happening. However, what's going to happen when they actually go, oh, and here's the new X-Men team? Because is it going to be nothing but mutants? Because in that case, the mutants could be remaining mutants. But what if the team is half mutants and half Inhumans? Then that'll kind of confirm that they have now blended the races together into something brand new. Or what if the unthinkable happens? What if we only get those solo series, but there's no longer an actual X-Men series, and there are only Inhuman series, and there are mutants in the Inhuman teams? Because, yes, even though this crazy plan to merge them into the Inhumans could work to Marvel's benefit, allowing them to get the rights to any future creations and to the merchandising rights back, they might still not actually own the name X-Men. And that would mean they wouldn't actually put out there an X-Men book. They would just put out there a bunch of Inhuman books that have the former mutants on the team. And honestly, that's just going to leave a bad taste in my mouth. It's going to feel so weird picking up an X-Men book that just isn't called X-Men. It would be like picking up a Defenders book that's called New Avengers. They were totally the Defenders. You can't tell me otherwise. And again, I'm not trying to get anybody upset. I'm not trying to get anybody lifting their pitchforks into the air and storming the castle with torches to get the Marvel monster. Because, again, we don't know if this is actually happening. In fact, you know what? Just leave that disclaimer at the bottom of the screen for the rest of this video. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, now that that's in everybody's mind throughout the rest of this, I just want to say, these are just the thoughts going through my head. We don't actually know much about this, but based on what I've seen so far, these are the options. However, there is one other option that I have mentioned this briefly ever since this whole Inhuman mutant crisis came about. Marvel might just be trolling us. This could all just be a giant troll game on Marvel's part. Because all of this started way back when a poster started circulating around that showed the whole Marvel universe, except there were no Fantastic Four members and there were no mutants up there, which everybody found to be very suspicious and got people starting to circulate a rumor around that Disney was forcing Marvel to not promote the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, which in all honesty, yeah, that's the only real explanation for why they weren't on that poster. However, in the wide world of comic books, no one, and I mean no one, is better at trolling their audience than Marvel. No one is better at making you think they are going to do one thing and then doing something completely different. There have been so many times in which it looks like they are going to kill off a major character or bring destruction and death and doom to so many different beloved characters from your childhood, and then the last second they go, yeah, no, we're not actually going to do that. I mean, remember Spider-Verse, where they were going to kill all the spiders? And you thought, oh my God, they're going to kill everyone except for Peter. Yeah, no, everybody was fine. They killed like maybe 5 people. It was totally fine. And in the end, it was a big uplifting story about Peter Parker saving the day. They do stuff like this all the time. I would not be shocked if Disney had told Marvel, don't promote the X-Men and the Fantastic Four on this poster. And they followed those orders, and then the internet freaked the fudge out, and then Disney was like, you know what, this is giving us bad press. You know what, never mind, we don't actually care about the mutants anymore. And then the people over at Marvel went, hold on, we can turn this into a story. And the past 4 years of them just screwing with the X-Men has been one long con game on their part to try and make us think, oh my God, they're going to actually kill off the mutants. And then at the end of it all, they just come in and go, yeah, no, they're all fine. Like maybe at the end of Inhumans vs. X-Men, they just bring the Phoenix Force down. It cleanses the earth of the Terrigen Mist, cures all the Mpox, and resurrects all the mutants who were killed off by Mpox. I don't think that's going to happen, but knowing Marvel, they could totally do that. And honestly, I would be so happy with them for saving the mutants and giving us a ton of brand new X-Men books because of it. But at the same time, I would be insanely pissed at them for putting us through years and years of torment to get to this point. Although in all honesty, I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, out of the 4 possibilities I see coming about, which is nothing changes, the mutants remain the mutants, but the Terrigen Mist is destroyed, the mutants become Inhumans, or this was all one big con game and we're all just happy to have the mutants back. I think this one is probably the least likely. However, I still want to throw it out there because, yeah, man, Marvel is really darn good at trolling its fans. And if this all turned out to just be one big prank, I wouldn't be that surprised. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, I'm sorry that this wasn't the most professional video, but as I said, I am working on a ton of Halloween content for next week. which, if you guys have followed me for the past 2 years, you know that the Halloween curse might still prevent me from getting any of those out, but I'm trying to get them this year. So next week, we're going to have a special Thorgy-ween episode of Comic Class, so make sure that you tune in for that. And also, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these new X-Men teasers that they've been putting out. In fact, let me know which X-Men character you want to see get their own book. You can also contact me with your thoughts on Twitter and Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. And if you want to see some of those future Comic Class episodes, which I assure you will be dealing with those future X-Men and Inhuman titles that get announced, or just any other videos from the world of geekery, including video games and movies, then make sure that you click that subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel, the easiest way to do that is simply to share these videos and give us a thumb up. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Come back next time.